Once upon a time, in a quiet little village nestled between rolling green hills, there lived a boy named Elias. Elias was cheerful, curious, and full of energy. His family owned a flock of gentle sheep, and it was his job to take them up the hill each morning and guard them until evening. He wasn't given the task because he was the strongest. He was still quite young, but because he was quick on his feet, sharp with his eyes, and eager to prove himself. The village itself was warm and close-knit. Families worked together in the fields, neighbors shared food, and every evening the sound of laughter and music floated through the air. It was a place where everyone looked after one another, almost like one big family. At first, Elias enjoyed being on the hillside. The grass swayed in the breeze, butterflies danced above wildflowers, and the sheep grazed peacefully. But after weeks of the same routine, boredom began to creep in. The sheep rarely did more than nibble and wander. Hours passed slowly. Elias tried skipping stones, whistling songs, even counting clouds one by one. Still, the silence weighed on him. Pause. While the village below buzzed with life, Elias felt lonely high up on the hill with only the sheep for company. One bright afternoon, mischief sparked in Elias's mind. If I pretend a wolf is here, he thought, the villagers will come running. Then I won't feel so alone. He stood tall on a rock, cupped his hands, and shouted, "Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is chasing the sheep." The villagers, alarmed, dropped their tools and rushed up the hill, their faces full of worry. But when they arrived, there was no wolf. Pause. Elias laughed and laughed. "Ha! You should have seen your faces." But the villagers frowned. "This is no game," they warned before trudging back down. Days later, boredom buzzed again. Elias climbed the same rock and cried even louder, "Wolf! Wolf, please help." The villagers once again rushed up the hill, but as before there was no wolf. Elias rolled on the ground, clutching his stomach with laughter. The villagers shook their heads. "Elias, one day you'll regret this," they said sternly before leaving. But deep in the forest, there truly was a wolf. He had gray fur that blended with shadows, and sharp eyes that glowed like lanterns. The wolf had been watching the flock from afar, learning their habits, waiting for the right moment. And one dusky evening, when the sun sank low and Elias's eyes grew heavy with tiredness, the wolf crept from the trees. Step by step, silent as the night, he prowled toward the sheep. Elias's heart thumped. "Oh no, this time it's real." He leapt up and shouted, "Wolf! Wolf! Please, someone help." But down in the village, the people only shook their heads. "Not again," they muttered. "He's playing another trick." No one came. The wolf scattered the sheep, snapping at their heels. Elias chased them desperately, waving his arms, shouting, throwing stones. He was brave, but he was just a boy. The wolf snarled, then finally, sensing no real danger, slipped back into the forest shadows to wait for another chance. Elias fell to his knees, panting, tears filling his eyes. The sheep were frightened and scattered. He had failed them. Later that evening, some villagers climbed the hill to check on him, not because they believed in the wolf this time, but because they loved Elias. Even when someone makes mistakes, a family still cares. They found him sitting on a rock, sheep trembling nearby, his face streaked with tears. "I lied," Elias admitted softly. "I called for help when there was no wolf, and when the wolf was real, no one believed me." The villagers knelt beside him. One elder placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Elias," she said, "a lie may seem small, but each lie is like a crack in a wall. If you make enough cracks, the whole wall falls down and trust is broken. Elias nodded, the weight of the truth sinking in. He realized that his laughter, his tricks, had cost him something precious, not just the villagers' trust, but his own peace of heart. From then on, Elias worked hard to rebuild what was broken. Day after day, he tended the sheep faithfully, no longer crying out for games or attention. And little by little, the villagers began to trust his words again. And so, under the starlit sky, the boy who cried wolf learned that truth is the strongest shield of all. It may not always bring excitement, but it builds something far greater: trust, friendship, and peace. And that is the story of the boy.